Yo, what's going on, everybody? Y'all know who it is. So, today, before we get into the video, right? This is a new thing I started doing. I just want to shout out the newest people on the channel. So, I got Mark Nickum, Damien Torres, some dude from Afghanistan or something. I don't know what language that is. His profile picture is a sad dog. Whatever. Anyway, welcome to the channel, y'all. Y'all know how we do it. Trying to do bigger and better things on the channel, so I'm making these more bigger YouTube not YouTube these bigger video ideas I've been wanting to do for a while. So today we're going to be talking about the best bosses in Wildlands. I know this video is supposed to come out like an entire week ago, but I was busy and I didn't want to rush the video. So today I'm going to be talking about the best characters as far as just believable characters in Wildlands and bosses and characters in Wildlands that I thought were really cool or added a lot of depth or more depth to the story than a lot of the other characters. If you guys watch the channel or my review of the game, you guys know that one of the most critical things I had said about Wildlands was that the story it just wasn't believable, and it I feel like the tone of the game was supposed to be much more serious, like the DLC that came out after the game, Fallen Ghosts, but the main story really misses that mark, and even the bosses in the game, because there's like 30 of them, a lot of them are just throwaway characters, and none of them really stand out to me except for these few I'm about to go over. So we're about to go ahead and go over this, but before we get started with the video, okay? Before anybody even thinks to ask, El Sueño is not on this list. Okay? El Sueño, I refuse to believe that I refuse to believe that the head of an entire major drug cartel that runs an entire country, basically, the smallest sign of not being able to handle, a military outfit going after your operation, that he just starts offing his own people and discommunicating people, killing the heads of all his branches. I refuse to believe that, okay? Because the idea is stupid. You run this huge thing, you basically work with the military, and you guys can't come together to actually go after the ghosts. I think it's kind of stupid in the story that the ghosts are constantly attacking the cartel, and all El Sueño does is be like, wow, you can't handle this? I'm gonna kill your ass. I'm gonna. Yeah, man, it's stupid. That's what the entire story mode is. I digress. That's not what we're here about, right? Now, before I start going over my favorite characters and bosses in Wildlands, right, which there are 4 of, before I do that, I just want to say, if you guys are fans of the channel, of me, of what I'm trying to do here on the channel, which has changed or evolved recently as of late into a different idea of what I want to do with this channel, then if you guys want to help me on this channel, just watch whatever you guys want to watch on the channel, retweet my pinned tweets or any of my other tweets with my content in it, and oh yeah, share it on Reddit if you guys know places where some gamers might enjoy my stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to I didn't mean to start talking about the whatever. I'm getting away from the idea of the video. Alright, so first person I want to talk about is El Plaga. El Plaga is the younger brother of the guy in charge of security, which is, I think his name is El Moro, or he's nicknamed the Wall, right? Now, he is the top sicario for El Sueño, but in my opinion, he's kind of in the shadow of his brother, who runs the entire security operation, and he's in charge of Unidad. Now, if you guys don't know, or if you didn't listen to all the audio files and whatever, his older brother, the Wall, he basically got into the life with El Sueño and all of that before I think his brother got into it. They don't give too many specifics, but he does, however, get his younger brother introduced to some military outfits, and he gets him trained in torturing, killing people, interrogation, all this stuff. and then his brother gets into it with El Sueño, and he becomes his top henchman or whatever, right? Now, the way the game makes him seem is that he's especially arrogant and he brags and he flexes on people all the time, which he does, don't get me wrong. But what I really appreciated the most about this character was I'm gonna say this. I didn't appreciate him the most until I actually got to his final mission, where I had to take him down himself from his province. But this guy, no joke, he's about the life. Like he does and lives everything that like it's not like he's just doing it for a little bit of money or because he had no other choice. He loves doing what he does, man. And that's half the reason why he is who he is. El Plaga. Yeah, he's really about that life, and what made me respect his character the most, my phone went off, ignore that, people. What made him respect him the most was when, like I said, I didn't think too much of him because the game makes him seem to be like some type of arrogant, cocky asshole who doesn't think too much with his head, right? So I moved in on his house to take him out, right? And I break into the house. I go down to the lower level where I'm thinking he's hiding in a garage or something, right? And I kick down this door, and the garage, it's like underground or whatever, right? The garage opens up to a fucking tunnel that leads out to the middle of this nearest city. Yeah. It sounds so bogus what I'm saying, bro. But I was like, the first time I played this game, right? And I got to this mission for the first time. I kicked down the door. I said, "All right, motherfucker, put your hands up." And I saw a tunnel, and this dude was on a dirt bike, and he's fucking vroom. I get in the next car or next dirt bike, and I'm chasing him. This huge underground tunnel underneath his house that I'm sure no one knows about brings him out to the middle of the city, and he nearly escaped from me. Like he had like crashed into a building or something. That's how I caught him. But if I've ever seen if I've ever seen anything that showed me dedication, bro, that was it right there, man. This dude was really about it because he had an underground secret tunnel, miles long, built underneath his house, and it just I don't know. It made me respect him more. That may make sense to some of you, may not, but I really appreciated that because I mean, there's some real OG type shit right there, man. Because a lot of the other characters in Wildlands, they're just ruthless. They don't think. They're throwaway characters. There's nothing especially unique about their character or anything that makes them stand out in my mind. But I really respected him for that. All right, so next thing I want to talk about is Ricky Sandoval. Man, Ricky Sandoval. Honestly, I wanted to put this list like 4, 3, 2, 1. Who was the best character, but honestly, these are all on the same level, and they outshine all the other characters and bosses in the game. So I don't really want to label them in a certain order and make you think one is better than the other because really these are all great characters. Ricky Sandoval, you learn about him at the very end of the game, which I thought was pretty dope. And it made me respect the story more than any other parts of the game because, like I said, the story, the whole tone of it is off in my opinion. Now, if you guys don't know, spoiler alert, after 2 years, Ricky Sandoval is the entire reason we're in Bolivia. There's a bombing at the embassy. They believe that it was supposed to kill Ricky. Really, though, Ricky set the bomb off himself. Now, the reason Ricky set the bomb off himself and injured, or I would say he did injure a couple of soldiers, but he could have killed like multiple people, soldiers, politicians, whoever just happened to be at that embassy. He was very willing to kill and injure any of those people for the simple fact of he was stationed in Bolivia for years and he was witnessing all these atrocities being committed by the cartel year by year and nothing being done by the government, the United States government. They didn't even care to get involved in international affairs, and it didn't yeah, it didn't interest them at all, like not by the smallest. So sooner than later, Ricky was about to be removed from the area and put on another project, and there was a human part of him that wanted to do something because he just couldn't stand by any longer and let this happen. So he took action for himself. He asked the rebels for help in his scheme, and he had an explosive rigged, blew up the embassy, got innocent people injured, hurt, could have possibly gotten soldiers killed, but it was all for the greater purpose of taking down this national drug cartel that was, or they were, and I'll say are like they're real. They are actively committing all of these terrible acts, and I really respect him for that. Like, I think this made Ricky the realest character in the game, and doing so even exposed himself and got him caught. I don't remember exactly how it is they found out who he was, because it might be different from the little short movie they had made, but his actions, his selfless actions, and putting them in the limelight, even though it got him killed in the end and he couldn't be there for his family anymore, he was able to get the cartel taken down by the #1 elite special forces in the United States. I mean, if that doesn't make Ricky Sandoval one of the top characters in the game, he's not a boss, but he's a character in the game that tricked you. Even though he's your friend, he tricked you and got you put there, and it was all a lie, just so for the greater good you could do what must be done. Man, Ricky Sandoval's an OG, man. I mean, it's fucked up he got done up like that, but he tricked the United States government into taking action, and he saved a whole lot of people in the process. Now, the last people, or I was about to say last people, one of the last people I want to talk about is Pat Katari. Man, every character I go by on this list, it just gets more interesting. Pat Katari is the leader of the Qatari 26. The reason Pat Katari is on this list is, if anything, it's because I think he is a great representation of what a rebel leader is like. He was able to utilize the help of the United States government when they needed it without fully trusting us, and without ever really showing that he didn't have our full trust, or that he wasn't willing to give his own trust up to us. He always pretended like everything was cool between us, but really he had his own ideas on what he wanted to happen and how he was going to use us to put them back in a position of power to fight the cartel. Now, at the end of everything, after we did all these missions and aided him and assisted him from the edge of defeat from the cartel, so just like Ricky Sandoval, Qatari had his own ideas on what he wanted to happen, and he was just going to use us for his own purposes. So towards the end of the game, he betrays a fellow leader of the Qatari 26, one of the guys who helped start the rebel movement 6 years ago, one of the original founders, including himself, and he betrayed that guy so he could impose his own ideas on the Qatari 26 and basically act on them, right? So he was willing to kill one of his closest friends, someone who had different ideals from himself, who he thought was too soft to do what the Qatari 26 really needed to do. He killed him. He betrayed the American government because he knew that we would either arrest El Sueño or that we would try and take him to be held to a certain ruling out in America or something like that. I can really respect this character because he wanted the entire world to know. He wanted the governments to know. He wanted the cartel, the rebels, the civilians. He wanted everyone to know that his group, his rebel movement, on their own could survive, and that there wasn't a person who would stand in their way. So this person they had beef with for all these years that they've been fighting against, who nearly defeated them entirely, was going to be killed by them on their own soil. And that they would enact their revenge, and ultimately they would be a force to be reckoned with. I thought it was a little fucked up, and at first I couldn't understand why he would turn on us after we had helped him so far. But he knocked out Karen Bowman, right? And then he said to shoot us on sight. So I don't think necessarily that maybe he was aiming to kill us, but that he didn't want us getting in his way of blowing up El Sueño's spot and trying to make shit hot. No, he was he wanted his people to see what it was that they were fighting for, and he was promising them that they would be on top and they would gain their own independence, free from the chains and shackles of being helped by the United States government. So we no longer have any ties bonding us, or we might, ask for something from them because, the United States government is finicky with their relationships with other countries sometimes, or at least in the eyes of certain people. And he really saw us as something to be used. He couldn't fully trust us, and he wanted independence. They've been fighting for independence in their country, for their children, their families, each other. So trying to trust an outsider to stand for what it is that he was fighting for, we can never really understand someone else's struggle like that because we're not in their shoes. That was his fight, and I understand it, but I'm not sure if it's something I can agree with. So I understand him, and this is why I think, honestly, out of Ricky Sandoval, Pat Katari, El Plaga, it's between Pat Katari and Sandoval, because Sandoval was willing to hurt people for the bigger idea of what needed to be done. But Katari was a man fighting for a greater idea, the bigger picture. And I don't know, they both did some fucked up shit. And as bad as that is, I respect them. You could honestly say that Katari, to some extent, is a villain, or that Sandoval is a traitor. But I don't know. They didn't let their loyalties or some false sense of loyalty distract them from what needed to be done. They were devoted to a bigger cause. I say it like that. So before I spend too long on any one of these characters, I want to talk about the last person on this list. This last person on this list is El Yayo's son. Now I know, I know he isn't a boss or a main character or someone you even see a lot in the game, but El Yayo's son is, I don't know, bro. He's an OG. If you guys remember the last cutscene you see him in, or it might be the only cutscene where he shows up and he talks about the relationship between the Americans and the rebel forces. I'm sorry, not the rebel forces, but the natives of Bolivia. He talks about how we're only there in their country for our own interests. We have no real ties with them, and we don't care either way what happens to them. And I thought that was really awesome because as much as the story feels like the tone is just kind of watered down from what it should be, because we're special ops operating in a foreign country, there seems to be no real, you don't see anything really bad happening to the people because of our actions. You don't see any type of, like, nothing seems real. It seems like we're just going around blowing shit up. But there are all types of consequences for your actions, okay? And when you talk or when you see the guy's son in the last cutscene, it brings a lot of reality back to the situation in the game, where it feels like you're actually doing what it is you're doing. You're taking on an international drug cartel. It's all about murking people and hurting innocents and going against their enemies. And he was just talking about how, his dad was getting in with this cartel guys and they're nothing but trouble. And then he turns around and he gets him in even deeper crap because he fucks up the cartel guys. And he has to go and turn tail and run to the aid of the United States government. And, well, he doesn't trust the United States government. He remembers how I'm sorry, I don't know what kind of word I'm trying to use right now. He remembers how badly they treated the Bolivians when they were in their country so many years ago, and he references that And my favorite part of this conversation, this cutscene, this is my favorite cutscene, is Karen Bowman says, "Go fuck yourself," okay? Because I'm tired of all this anti-American shit. She said, "We're not your enemies," and then he turned around and he snapped at her and he said, "You know what? You're not our enemies, but you're not our friends either. Okay? You're not really looking out for us. You're looking out for yourselves and how you can help yourselves. You don't really care about what happens to this country or its people. You're only here for your own benefit or what you want out of us." I respect that kid so much. And he was spitting truth. And from the look of him, this dude was like 23 maybe. He looked like he was around the age of me. I don't know how old he actually is in the game or how old he's supposed to be. But that dude was spitting nothing but facts. And I respect him for that, man, because shit. He made this game feel like it was based in reality. Or it could be because of how man, I suck at this video. He was just saying basically how great of a character I'm trying to say basically how great of a written character he was just by those few short lines that he said. I think it's remarkable that in some ways a writer, if he can write something well enough in a few short sentences, one person can be a better character or a more developed and realistic character than some of these other people we spend the entire game with. Okay, I'm just rambling at this point. In any case, that's the end of the video. I hope all of you guys enjoyed the content. Like I said, if you're really messing with the YouTube channel, what I'm trying to do with the YouTube channel, retweet my retweet my pinned tweet on my Twitter, which is the same my username on here, or any of my tweets where I tweet out my content, or share it on Reddit, wherever you think people might appreciate the content. I hope you guys all have a nice day. I got a couple more big videos planned because I'm trying to get to 900 subscribers, 850s first, then 900, then 1,000. But we got to do these bigger videos so I can get to that point. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I'm here for you guys. I love y'all.
Book the hornet's nest. I'm opening fire. Fucking hell. What the hell are you trying to do?
Same thing as you, amigo. Doing what's right for my country. El sueño will die on Bolivia's soil. My people must know. The government must know. The other cartels must know. The rebels are not slaves for the Americans. We are strong on our own.
That way you killed Amaro. Because he wasn't strong enough.